Ed Daul, D-A-U-L, Pere Wisconsin. My birthday was June 27th, and my next draft was in October, so I went volunteer draft because I didn't think I was going anyplace anyway. Because I had 2 years in, and I only had 4 credits. I would have been there for 20 years to get 16 credits. Well, everybody my age was going to service, so I thought I should go too. I went down for physical, and I went to Milwaukee, and then I passed the physical, and I went down there with 3 other guys, and we all talked about going in the Army, see. So I went upstairs, and I passed, and those other 2 guys, they took the Navy. So I went back upstairs, and I says, I want to change that to the Navy. He says, get out of here, you're in the Army. We went to, well, we passed through Chicago. We went to Camp Wallace, Texas. Well, I only knew one guy there that I knew in the other one of the other battalions, but it was young. I took it as it came, see, you know. And the only thing is that I was going to join the paratroopers after basic training, but there's another 6 weeks, you know, because I wanted to go home and see Ma. They taught us the rifle and how to shoot it and how to dig holes and how to march and take orders and stuff like that. They had a regular daily mail call, you know, and I didn't write too much, but I did send a letter to Ma once in a while, you know. She was the only one that I really cared for. My furlough, 10-day delay en route, it was. And we were supposed to report to in Maryland, basic training. What the hell place was that? Well, anyway, we all had to be there by a certain date. We also had one night in New York. You know, we made the rounds. You know, well, everything. We even went to a diamond dance place. We went to Jack Dempsey's. He was right there in the square, and a few other places. You know, it was the USS George Washington. It was a troop ship. At one time, it was a lecture ship. There was GIs packed all over, you know, even way down in the hole. You know, one night we heard boom, 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 you know. Well, there was a submarine in the area, and twice we heard that, boom, 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 you know, they're dropping depth charges, you know. But otherwise, see, we were the flagship, and the flagship could go only as fast as the slowest ship, you know. So that's the way it was. Well, I didn't get seasick, but a lot of guys got seasick, and they had a little bucket right by the bed, you know, and vomit, you know. But I was up on deck a couple of times, and I see their deck is made of wood, you know, and I see the planks going like this here, you know. So I figured I better get down below. But then they're down there heaving, so what are you going to do? But that wasn't too bad. We were on the ship only, we landed in England on the 1st of April. So we were on the ship about 11 days only. We got on trucks and we went to a basic training camp, you know, and we didn't really see much of England, although they did give us a pass if we wanted. What the hell can you? We were about 100 miles from London, but we could see them at night bombing England. When we could see the planes, you know, get caught. But it was too far to go on an overnight pass, you know. Same old crap, you know, walking and reading maps and stuff like that, you know. Well, see, that's where we got our rifle. They were packed in calcimine, and we had to clean them, you know. And that's something to clean a rifle that's full of calcimine, you know. But it's hot water does it, you know, melts it off. But then you got to take it apart and clean it, and that's what you're supposed to learn about your rifle, we had this one guy who the Army had set it on his land, and we'd go steal a little hay or something like that, and he'd come want it back, because that's for his cows, and stuff like that. Our bed was a wooden bed with chicken wire, and you had your mattress cover lay on that. That was your bed, So you wake up with a few wrinkles. If you steal an apple, he was back there going to collect for that apple, So,
Right.
but he took our honey buckets every day, and spread on his land, but that was something different, We didn't know from Adam, but we did know that France, we didn't know where we were going, but France was with, what do you call them, there were blocks of land where we would have fences. They had hedgerows, We didn't know anything was going on until the night of the invasion, and then they woke us up about 2 o'clock, and the sky was just black with planes, So it said, get ready. So we packed up and we got on the trucks and we went to deportation plant, where the other people were. We filled in there. It was I don't know where it was, but it was near the deportation plant. The division landed in D+2, and we were filling up the ships that brought them over there. Saying, yeah, there was a lot of activity. We were kept pretty much cooped up. You know what I mean? We couldn't go out and see anything. We got on the LSCs at shore, and then we had a walk. They were starting to clean the beach already, but they had bodies all over the place, I forget how many bodies there was, but there were still bodies. There was one ship bringing them in and one ship bringing them out, I wasn't scared until I heard the first shell. When you go over the side of the ship down the landing, the net, you gotta wait till the boat comes up and then you step on it, and then you go away. Well, when after you dropped the gate, you stepped off, and some guy next to me jumped in and he went down. He never came up, But otherwise, it was normal landing, I guess, But it was scary, They took my rifle away and they made me a litter bearer. See, I was that way for 3 days. But there was nobody to carry. The wounded were all walking wounded, and they could move by themselves. All their fields were, instead of fences, they had brush, and they had a gate in there somewhere. But we had to crawl all over the outfit after we shooting. Then we figured it was clear, and we'd jump over to the next one, But that was not so much fun. Actually, some of them they pulled out, like the pillboxes were empty, and the front line was moved, What I think what they were thinking about doing is drawing us in and whacking us, but it never happened, I can't explain it to you. It just shit in your pants. Your heart goes up here, and you're just shaking. You keep on walking forward. You go forward. Because one day I was digging a slit trench, and I headed down about that far, one spadeful, and they started throwing artillery at us. So I dove in the hole. Another guy dove on top of me, and I think another one could have got on top of him, because you really flatten out. It was an awful gun. It was a gun made for aircraft, and they turned it on to artillery piece. and it was bing, boom, boom, you know. It was something. Because there was all hedgerows and everything like that. Once in a while we'd see a dead one, you know. But otherwise you didn't hardly see them because they kept on retreating. They took all the prisoners at Brest. You know, we didn't, they must have had all their troops there, and that's where all the prisoners were taken. So, no, yeah, there was Hill 192 that we were at. There was a St. Louis. I mean, on top of the hill was a cemetery, you know, and the Germans are dug in there, but they could see from where they were way down to the beach. So it was terrible. We pulled back 100 yards or so, and the drift of the smoke shifted, and that's where the airplanes dropped the bomb. They killed about 90 guys, 90, 100 guys. We told them they were bombing the wrong guys. But after that, we get over it. Because right after that, Brest fell, you know, and I got hurt at St. June de Witt on my birthday. I didn't know it was my birthday, and when I filled out the report, it said June 27th. Well, Christ, that was my birthday. Some president. The lieutenant says, "Hey, Daul, go down and get the tank." You know, at the battalion. See, so me and another guy, we go down there. We sign out the tank, and we're coming back up the hill, and all of a sudden, bang, bang. You know, and 2 shells landed. The shrapnel, if I would have been standing straight up, it would have broke my shoulder. But I was bent over a little bit, and went through this arm, see, you know. And I was down on the ground. I lost power in it, you know. But then a little while later, it come back, and the guy give me a shot. He says, "You want another one? You can have it." See, you know. I said, "No, one's enough." So I went back down to the battalion aid station, and I see a guy from the Pere, Jim Van Vunnen. He was there. Then I went to the other hospital, and what they were doing, they were getting loads of plane and then shipping back to England, because if there was a counterattack, there you got a bunch of guys can't defend themselves. Well, anyway, while I was laying there, I just had come in, and Miss Patton was my nurse. The nurse I had from grade school. Yeah. She was a second lieutenant, but I found out later she died in California as a major. Put you on a truck, you move, and you don't ask the questions. Where am I going? You know, they loaded us on one of the big trucks and took us to the airfield, and we got in. We went to England. It was tents and stuff like that, you know. And one time I was getting better. I thought I was, and I asked for a pass, because I knew a friend of mine, Joe Peters, was about 20 miles away, you know. So they said, the girl says, "You get the pass and you get the money for $20, you know, spending." So I went to the guy, and I asked him for the pass. He says, "You want to go on a pass? We'll give you back to your duty." Where's his ass? Well, all the while I was over there, I always wrote and told Mom that I was in England, you know. But then she got the letter that I was, hurt, you know. Yeah, after that guy says you're fit for duty. I was on the way next day. Same way I got there before, on the boat and the landing craft. But the landing craft landed right on the beach, you know. Yeah. Well, it was all clean, everything. That was a month after the invasion, you know. When we got off to the landing craft, some lieutenant there says, you take these bags, there was 4 of us, and he says, you take these bags up for the lieutenant. So we had to crawl them up, haul them up the hill, See, that was the only entrance into France was, except Cherbourg, and Cherbourg was quite a ways down too. But anyway, we happened to take our rifle and break the bottle of booze, just by accident, because why should we be their servant? From the beach, we got on trucks, and we got trucks to go as far as Paris. And then we went through Paris, and 30 miles on the other side of Paris, they had a big camp there. It was in a granary. And then alongside of the granary, they had another patch over here. That's where they kept the prisoners, the GIs, that did something. So anyway, after we got there, we all went up in the granary, and we got our bed and everything. And some guy next to me says, you want to go to the show tonight? Well, they had a show down, I said, sure. So we get down there, and he's trying to unbutton my pants, So I says, what are you doing? And he didn't say nothing, and he kept on with my leg and everything. So I give him a shot in the arm, with my elbow, and he got up and left. And when the show was over, he was gone. He was gone someplace, he left, So then the next day, this is where it gets juicy. The next day, one of these guys that were there, my division, says, let's go to Paris. I said, well, we can't get a pass. Sure we can, he says, follow me. So we went around the train, and got on the train on the other side, So we didn't go past the MP or nothing. So we were on the train, and there was a girl on there with a bottle of wine that she was supposed to meet somebody, and he didn't show up. So she was going back to Paris. So he drank that up, and then he stole her wallet. And when we got to the station, he gave me a shot. He says, come on, run. So I run with him because I never controlled what was going to happen, So we wandered around town for, till it got dark. We went to a couple of taverns here and there and everything like that. We seen all the sights. And then we got a room. And first thing you want to do is have a madame come up, I said, forget about that because I seen too many pictures. So he had his time, and we went back. We got on the train, and when we pulled in, our group was standing there, so we had to run 2 blocks to get to MP, not the MP, but to what's it called room, day room. And he says, go get your berth. If you can make her, you can't. So we run up there, and we just got there until the train was pulling out. but that was pretty close, Well, I don't know how many miles we traveled, but we traveled the front line then, Our division had a front of 80 miles. So you can imagine how thin it was, But then the 199th come in and relieved us, and we went to join the rest of the division, That's when the balls started. They said the Germans got nothing, anymore, But they had a lot. We thought the war was over. That's what they told us, War is going to be over. When we was before we moved there, we could see the Germans over there. We could hear tanks, but we told them, the head ones there, they're just trying to scare you, So we let it go at that. And then when we moved on the 16th, I think it was, and He struck on the 17th. And hard to believe. There was so much confusion that you didn't know what was going on. I mean, there were Germans and there were paratroopers and there were inflators, and you didn't know what's going on, you know. And that was the scary part of it, you know. They were all roadblocks are all set there and everything like that. But what did that make the Germans? They went around them, you know. But then it froze, and they couldn't really go around them because they had to stay on the road. So it was like fog for about a week. That's when they struck. I moved about 4 times, you know, but the ground is so goddamn hard that you almost wreck your But once you broke past the frost, then it was easy, you know. But we moved maybe 3 times, you know, all the time moving them back, you know. Our division was in contract with the enemy for 300 and some days anyway. There was about 10 days that they weren't in contact with them and trying to stay alive. But we did the thing with dig and shoot and dig and shoot, and, you know. I got sick. It was about the 17th of December, I remember that. I got sick, I threw up and all that stuff like that. And I went back to they sent me to the aid station, and there I took off my underwear and washed it out, you know, because I had to have something like that. So anyway, while that was drying, we got to move, you know. So here I am without without an underwear on. I got a OD on and what's it called? Yeah, and then I had a tanker overall, you know, which was good. But the idea of that wind blowing up your leg got sort of cool. And I think it was about 4 days that before I got that dried out, that I could put it back on, you know. And it was worse weather than we got now, you know. It was 25 and 35 below zero, you know, and wind, you know. They're usually at dawn, they come running, you know. They were in the woods, you couldn't see what they were doing, but at dawn, in the fog and everything like that, it was hard to see anything, you know. You were really scared. You knew that they were there and that's what you were shooting, you know. But sometimes they were over here, you know. But it was scary. I was in a field and a building blew up and it hit me in the eyes. And I couldn't see for a little bit, see? And the medic, he says, "You sit there." He give me a shot. He says, "You sit here, I'll be back." And by that time, my eyes start to come back, you know. So then I went and joined the outfit again, you know. But they count it as a wound, you know. You know, here, I'm shell shocked, and I can't see, but little by little, it's come back, you know. Like my eyes right now, you see they're bloodshot. That's from that, you know, from the shot in the eyes.
4 weeks later, their frozen bodies, hands and ankles bound, were found where they fell.
Yeah. We went through Malmedy, you know, on the way to where we dug in, but maybe 4 or 5 days afterwards. Yeah, that was quite sad. But you know what the score was? Hitler says, "Kill them all." You know, kill them all. We need this here article, so kill them. So that's what they did. You were right. Although a friend of mine, Gibby Ruffers, you know He was captured, and they didn't kill him. Him and about 40 other guys. They marched him back to Germany. And they were, all the while, they marched for about 3 months. Well, in a way, you didn't. You know, I never kept anything that belonged to German. You know, because if they find that on you, bang. You know, just like that. You know, the weather cleared, and Patton came, and then the Air Corps. The Air Corps took care of everything. You know, you looked up, and there was all kinds of airplanes, and they were dropping bombs, and they were dropping, you know, strafing and everything like that. They were having a good time. You know, we moved back. You know, but it wasn't nothing like the Bulls. Nothing like it. They were shattered. You know. There were nothing but shells and stuff like that, you know. And the woods are stripped of the branches. Some of them were from bombs and stuff like that. So you get a shell burst, you know, instead of coming down and blowing, it blows up here and goes all over. You're not safe for anything there. Yeah, those are blocks, you know, they had there. We went through there like a sieve, you know. My book over there tells all about it, you know. Yeah. But we went through there like a sieve. And then we went as far as the Rhine River. And at that time, they were still fighting, trying to get across the Ragoon River. And we went across some boats, rubber raft, about a mile down the river. We were at the Rhine River. We said, what are we going to do now? And here come the Navy with a bunch of rubber boats, you know, rafts. We get in, and we plow across the river. We regroup, and then we started walking, you know. And there was no resistance until we met the first village. That's one of the first resistance we had. We came up. The only way there was through the stream, and they were bombing, throwing phosphorus shells, you know, burning. And here you're in the middle of the river. What are you going to do? You know, you're just dodging. And then finally, after about 10 minutes, they quit. But then they had the place burning. And that's what they wanted to see, you know. We're in Germany. We're across the Rhine, and about 4 days later, the tanks come. So they had built a bridge so the tanks could get through. And then we had it was like a picnic. We'd get on, you know, those tanks could only go about 25 miles on a gallon, not a gallon, but a tank full, and then we'd have to stop, and at night they'd bring up fuel. Next morning we'd go take off. But the only hard thing about that, we had a hot breakfast, you know. They brought the kitchens in, and then they threw us a K ration and say, don't eat it until you're hungry. Well, we came upon the Autobahn later on, you know, but we crossed the Autobahn. Although part of our division was headed for Leipzig, you know, and then they got we went up to Leipzig, and then there was a sign printed there. You are entering Leipzig for the courtesy of the 29th Division, you know. When we come to a little town, you know, they'd all be standing there, you know, wondering what's going to happen to them, you know. And otherwise, what we do, we'd come to the house, we run through it, see what the hell we got. Any guns or swords or anything, we'd break them, you know. And it was a shame that some of those guns, they were so pretty. As we were on the trucks going towards, you know, into Germany, you'd see a lot of people, you know, just with a bag of something on their shoulder and wondering what the hell's going to happen to them, you know. I know a guy that captured a prison camp, and they give them food, and they all got sick. Well, we all at night when we stop, the first thing we do is look for the chicken coop and for the eggs. See, so then we kill the chicken and have a fried chicken at midnight, and have eggs for in the morning. Oh, every day, every day. we went to one place there, and we couldn't find no chicken, but this guy had a goose. You know, he had a pet goose, and somehow the dog, the sucker, got lost during the night. And was he ever mad? Where's my goose? You know, he was running around. Everybody was going like this. Yeah. We knew something was going to happen because there was no resistance. You know, a little bit here and there. You know, but like when we come in this town, and it was during the daytime, and we stayed there overnight, and during the night, get him! You know, so there was a crowd there. He's trying to steal a jeep to get the hell out of there, but he was dead by the time he hit the ground. We were walking on this road, and we were, well, let's see. I'm trying to think of place. But anyway, we were on this here road. It was higher than the valley down there, see. And all of a sudden, bang, 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 come from a hole in the, what's it called? So then we all, like that, and out come the white flag, you know, young kid with a uniform on. He was Hitler Youth. He's so goddamn scared he couldn't do nothing, you know. But we've seen a few of them little assholes, you know. Yeah, the kids. Who wants to kill a kid? I don't know. I remember it, yeah, because we were in Germany, in there, and this here crowd, he says, Roosevelt kaput. And we said, Hitler kaput. But that's how we found out that Roosevelt was dead, you know.
With the Allies and the Russians drawing within range of each other, both forces had to use extreme caution to keep from finding themselves suddenly firing into or overrunning the other's lines.
The Elbe River, we were supposed to cross that, and we weren't supposed to cross it. We were supposed to meet the Russians there, and we met them, and I'm glad we moved out because, you know, them suckers, they kiss on the lips, and, you know, and everything like that. And you imagine how their breath smells, you know. Here's what happened. You know, there's always looting and shooting, you know, and everything like that. So this here one guy, he got in his warehouse. It was full of cognac and champagne. So he come back to the company and got a Jeep, and he got 4 of those, they were about that wide and about that long, you know, full of jars, you know, jugs of champagne. So everybody had about four jugs of champagne on them, and we had a good time but then the goddamn officer, they said, where'd you get that? And the guy says, well, we got a warehouse full down there. Show me. So the guy showed him, and then there was a guard put on because we couldn't go down there no more. The officers had their what's it called? And one guy went down there and the guy shot at him. We were there 3 or 4 days, and all of a sudden we get orders that we had to go out to guard these roads because they found out that the Russians were through in Prague, you know, and they come towards Pilsen, and they wanted Pilsen. So our general went out there and asked them where the papers were, and they couldn't prove it, you know, that they were what they were trying to do is gobble up territory, you know. Yeah, so we stayed there, I think about 4 or 5 days a week, but we used to come in from guard duty, and these people in there, they were so goddamn glad that we were there that they give us potato soup, you know. That was pretty good the first time, but when you get it every day, it gets pretty tough. They didn't want to they wanted us to take them. And what you did, just send them back, you know. And you were going this way and you waved them that way. Mostly soldiers, you know. But civilians too, they'd see them with their little blanket full of goodies, you know.
Complete Nazi capitulation came on May 7th at Reims, when the Allies, represented by General Eisenhower's Chief of Staff, General Walter Bedell Smith, accepted the surrender of Colonel General Alfred Jodl on behalf of the Nazi High Command.
All hostilities were to cease at midnight on May 8th. The surrender instrument was signed by Jodl at 2:41 in the morning of May 7, 1945.
85 points, you stayed there. I had 73 points. But I had to come home. See, I had 2 Purple Hearts. I had infantryman's rifle, 15 points. Then you got so much for each month you were in. And, well, I had 73 points anyway, but I had to come home, you know, with the what's it called. But then well, I was home, the thing in Europe, I mean, Japan was dead. We were in Czechoslovakia and we went to Le Havre, and then we got on the USS Normandy, and got sabotaged in the what's it called, in the harbor in New York. But it got floated right and fixed up and come picked us up, you know. 4.5 days. Fort Shank, wherever that is, New Jersey, I guess. Yeah. But by luck, the war was over then. My mom, my sister-in-law, they took me out to Kellnersville for chicken, you know. And here I'm out there at 6 o'clock when the bells start ringing, you know. And I didn't get back to the pier till must have been 9:30, 10 o'clock, and everybody was whooping it up and everything like that. I was about 4 hours behind time.